You read each and every word, but don't store it in your mind. You skim and scan. If you're reading a passage, you have to get to know the meaning first. Don't make it too complex. When the passage is simple, when the paragraph is simple, don't reread it. Don't expect that you will be finding an answer outside the passage. It won't happen usually. Hello, hi, namaste and welcome to Vidhyaashram, first grade college. I am Nanda Kishore, Faculty of English in Vidhyaashram, MYSURU. In today's session, I'm going to talk about reading comprehension, which is one of the topics in your first semester degree, which is also prescribed for B.A, B.C.A, B.Com and B.B.A. So let us start with reading comprehension, which will be question for 4 marks. So what is reading comprehension basically, and what are the strategies you need to follow? I know most of you are thorough and you are well versed in reading comprehension, but few may not be so very well acquainted with the topic. For their betterment, I am giving complete insight and the tricks and tips how to attempt the question for 4 marks. First thing, strategies. So what are the strategies you are going to follow? Previewing or reviewing in simple. First thing, you have to see the titles, or it could be section headings, or it could be photo captions at times. I'm telling you, at times. You might be wondering, sir, do we expect a photo caption passage as well in the examination in our first semester? Remember, I'm not preparing you just for the first semester. This has a longer purpose, so I expect you to follow these strategies, inculcate it, try to develop it. So this will definitely help you in scoring marks, not just in your semester, maybe even in your competitive exams. So you may have to observe photo captions to get the sense of the structure and content of reading selection. Predicting, using knowledge of the subject matter to make predictions about content and the vocabulary and check comprehension. So predicting in simple, it depends on what you read first, whether you read the complete passage or the comprehension or the question set. Most of my students have this doubt. The suggestion I give them is very simple. You read the question set first. Let me tell you why you have to read the question set first when I go deep into solving reading comprehension. So apart from that, content and vocabulary, so don't give too much importance to vocabulary, using knowledge of the text type and purpose to make predictions about discourse structure, using knowledge about the author to make predictions about writing style, vocabulary and content. In simple, you have to look into everything, but still you don't look at anything. You might be wondering what is looking at everything and not looking at anything at all. In simple, you read each and every word, but don't store it in your mind. You skim and scan. Let us see what are other strategies you have to follow. Skimming and scanning. I spoke about skimming and scanning. What is skimming and scanning? Using a quick survey of the text to get the main idea, which is very important. Identify text structure, confirm or question predictions. In simple, skimming and scanning is nothing but, let us imagine in degree you have this reading comprehension for 4 marks and you may expect not more than 10 to 13 lines, not more than that. So out of 13 lines you read, do you have to read word by word? Do you have to read thoroughly? Do you have to look into the meanings of each and every word? Don't do it. According to skimming and scanning technique, you are just going to read the passage. While reading the passage itself, you should be able to grasp the idea of the entire lines, or simply known as just getting out the main idea about the passage. Other than that, I would like to give you one more tip. Should you just know the meanings of each and every word? No, you don't. Don't do it. How fast should you read? Should I just rush where you will not understand even a single line? No. But however you read, the main idea should be extracted. You should know the meaning of comprehension. If you search for dictionary meaning, comprehension is to get the meaning out of what you read. So if you are reading a passage, you have to get to know the meaning first. That's the idea of comprehension. Guessing from context. Guessing is, remember, you will be reading using prior knowledge of the subject and the ideas in the text as clues to the meanings of unknown words instead of stopping to look them up. As I told you, don't go into deep finding of meanings. Don't go searching for the meanings here for unknown words. What happens? You consume time. It is time consumption. Instead of that, you get the main idea, guessing from the context. There are few difficult words, so looking at the context, you should be able to understand the meaning of the actual word. Next is paraphrasing. Stopping at the end of a section to check comprehension by restating the information and the ideas in the text. Remember, the more you read, the more the vocabulary will grow. Right? The more you read, the more vocabulary or your vocabulary will grow. You have to read it once. If you are good enough, those students who are very well versed, those students who have a good vocabulary may not have to read the passage twice or thrice or 4 times. I'm going to give you a special tip for those students who cannot read and understand the passage in one shot. Let us move on for further do's and don'ts. So those are the strategies you have to follow. Apart from that, what should you do and what not you should do. Do not overemphasize trivialities, in the sense like don't make it too complex. When the passage is simple, when the paragraph is simple, don't reread it. Don't expect that you will be finding an answer outside the passage. It won't happen usually. Do not memorize. Don't try to remember anything there. In the sense, few students, they have a habit of reading the passage first and then going and reading the question set. Don't do it. I'm going to tell you why. Do not read the passage first. I told you, I had been telling you what happens when you read the passage first. Let me give you a simple example. Imagine you are sitting in the examination hall and you have just 5 minutes left because you have you have consumed all the remaining time and you barely have 5 minutes. So what do? It is for 4 marks and you cannot lose 4 precious marks. You have to read the question set. Let us say there will be 4 questions. Okay? And there is a passage. You get to read the 4 questions first. You remember 2 questions. I am not asking you to remember all the 4 questions, but I'm sure once you read the 4 questions, I'm sure you can remember at least 2 questions. First 2 questions. And then you come back to passage and start answering. You might wonder, so what happens if we read the passage first and then go back to question set? What happens is, you read the passage first. Passage will be around 15 lines. Let us say it will be 15 to 20 lines. And you cannot remember everything, each and every word you have read. So once you read the passage, you go to the question set. In the question set, what happens? You read the first question. You have to come back to the passage. Few students or those students who cannot remember the passage, they have to again come back to the passage, reread it. So you have to reread it 4 times in order to answer 4 questions. That is why, for time saving, we expect you all to read the question set first and then come back to passage. It is definitely going to help you. In order to try this, you first download. If you want to believe that it is going to work, first download a passage or a paragraph and the question set. Read it and then answer the question. Instead of first reading the passage and then coming back to question set and then rereading it, it is so complicated. You can try doing it. Next one is, do not overemphasize on vocabulary skills for RCs. What RCs? What are these? Reading comprehension. So don't overemphasize. In the sense, don't look into the deeper meaning of a word or a difficult word you come across. Next thing, do not spend time on reading comprehensions that you cannot comprehend at first. So this tip, this trick will be followed or could be adopted when you go and attempt the competitive examinations, where you could be asked 3 to 4 comprehensions in one competitive exams. Remember, it is not just about one comprehension. It could be about 4 to 5 or even 6. It depends. Because you go and attempt the competitive exams these days, they will be asking you to comprehend a lot of passage. Though the passage will be very thin, like maybe 6 to 7 lines, but the meaning, those meanings are so difficult. Those words are so complicated to understand. So don't waste time and don't spend too much of time if you cannot comprehend at first. Out of 5 questions or out of 4 questions, you may have to at least answer first 2 or 3. And next, what are other tips? What are other do's and don'ts? 6th one, do not think the correct option would come from outside the passage. As I told you, don't think the correct answer would be lying outside the passage you read. Do not rely on trigger words. Trigger words, do not rely, because they convey a message which could be wrong. Trigger words, the main words, do not rely on them. 8th one, make notes. So you may not have to make notes in your semester examination, but mark my words, store my words in your brain, on your head. Maybe this making notes will help you when you go for a competitive examination. Definitely it will help you. 9th one, try to preempt questions. Preempt in the sense like, assume or predict. You're going to read a passage and you can just expect, this is especially for those students who read the passage first. In spite of giving so many tips to follow or to attempt reading comprehension, few students, they prefer reading the comprehension first. So you can predict. While reading the comprehension itself, you may get some idea, okay, you can expect a question on this line or this word or this year, or it could be even name, place, it could be anything. 10th one, opening and closing paragraphs require extra focus. Usually, this is not so important with respect to semester examination because they will be giving you not more than a paragraph and they will be asking you only 4 questions and it will be tested for 4 marks. To be on a safer side, let us say 5, not more than that. So let us move on to solving the passage now. As I told you the idea, should I first read the passage and then go back to the question set and solve them, or should I first jump to read the questions and then come back to the passage? But I will be following the tip or the trick of reading the question set first. The questions. So let us say there are 5 questions. I have just taken up 5 questions, but in your examination, the possibilities are only 4. What is the difference between policy and principle? Okay, first question. Second one, what is honesty as explained in the passage? So first question is policy and principle. What is the difference? Next is, what is honesty as explained in the passage? Add a suffix to word fear to form its antonym. So this kind of questions could be asked or they may not ask as well. So be prepared. You should know the meaning of antonym, which is nothing but opposite. Synonym, which is nothing but the meaning with the same word. The word which has the same meaning. Choose the word from the passage which means forces. The fourth question. And the fifth one is, whom cannot a dishonest man cheat? After reading 5 questions, am I able to remember at least first 2 or 3? Let us test it. Without looking at the board, am I able to tell you the questions? The first question is, what is the difference between policy and principle? The second one is, what is honest? The first one is honest and principle, not the policy. Honest and principle. The second one is, what is honesty as explained in the passage? The third one is, add a suffix. Add a suffix to the word fear. Fourth one is maybe choose the word from the passage which means forces. And the fifth one, whom cannot dishonest man cheat? First 3 for sure I could remember. Now let us go to the passage, right, and check. We could find the answers immediately. We start reading the passage. Honesty cannot be only a policy. It can be a principle. There is a difference between policy and principle. The first question, what is the difference between policy and principle? A policy changes, but a principle does not change. In that case, it is not honesty. So it is, what is the difference between policy and principle? My question was wrong. So it is, the right form is, what is the difference between policy and principle? Policy changes. We have already found the answer. Policy changes, but the principle does not change. We found the answer. We don't have to read the passage first, then go back to the questionnaire, then come back and reread it now. Second question. If you are able to remember, what is the second question? What is honesty as explained in the passage or the paragraph? Honesty refers to the quality of being honest, truthful, and sincere. According to the passage, what is honesty? Honesty refers to the quality of being honest, truthful, and sincere. It is time saving. The third question, add suffix, not prefix. Prefix is, let us say, fear is a word given there. Whatever words you are going to add before the base word is prefix. Okay? And whatever words you are going to add after the base word is suffix. So fear is the base word, and what is the meaning of fear there? No, scared. And antonym, when you add suffix, the word should convey the opposite word of fear. So antonym is fearless, and this is the suffix you are going to add. Now let us say how a prefix could be added to a base word. Honesty, right, or honest. What could be added before that? Dishonest. Honest, dishonest. So those are the prefixes and suffixes. So third one is already answered. Let us move on to the fourth question. What is the fourth question? If you can remember, the fourth question is choose the word from, choose the word which conveys the same meaning as forces. Let us see if you can see or find the answer in the passage. He does not bow. An honest man is fearless and courageous. He does not bow his head before others. He can face any situation in life. Very true. But the desire for money and the power of money of today are the main causes of dishonesty. You see, this is prefix. Honesty is positive. That is sort of a synonym. And antonym is an opposite word. By adding prefix, it is dishonesty. Next one, let us move on. We love in the world of competition, or we live, maybe we live in the world of competition. There is a rat race for more wealth and power. So people forget honesty. Money, such an important part in our society that a dishonest man lives more comfortably than an honest man. This compels, remember the question, find out a word or pick out a word which gives the same meaning as forces, forcing. So this is compelling. We got the answer for the fourth question. Let us find the answer for the fifth one, which is the question. The fifth one is, whom cannot a dishonest man cheat? Now, let us proceed further. This compels the honest man to wonder whether honest is the best policy. The disadvantages of dishonesty is that the money or wealth acquired through dishonest means will not last long. The last paragraph, we still didn't find it. A dishonest man is fearful, immoral, and corrupt. He can cheat the whole world, but how can he cheat his own soul? He cannot cheat his own soul. So that is how you find answers. Remember, here I took a lot of time changing the slides back and forth, but in your examination you don't have to change the slides or turn the pages. Of course, maybe one page just from back and forth, but the thing is, you can save time. That is guaranteed if you follow the tricks of reading the question set first and try to follow the strategies I have told you. Those are very important. You can keep them in your mind, try to practice them. It will definitely help you in some point of time, and that is how you can score marks maybe in your competitive examinations. But when it comes to your first semester English language, for all the 4 sections, it could be B.A, B.C.A, B.Com and B.B.A, reading paragraph or reading comprehension is one of the language components, and I can assure you scoring 4 marks is just like a cakewalk there. But try to follow the strategies I have given. With this, I wind up. So with this, I wind up today's session. I'm going to talk about many topics which are prescribed in your syllabus. That would be your language component, or it could be your prose or poems. I will be meeting you in next session. In my next session, I will be taking up another grammar or language component, and I will be discussing it in detail. I will be meeting you in my next session. Until then, keep practicing. See you. Have a good day.